Hey folks, what's up? Antonio Fletcher back with you once again. I'm here on ISU campus and I'm looking at one of the boards that they have advertisements and postings on the wall. If you can see this, there's a post right here that says free speech includes offensive speech. And as you can tell, there was some butthurt liberal SJW, more than likely cucks or cuck, who scratched this out, and it says free speech, or rather hate speech is not free speech. Now, if you can read this, I'll try to put it closer to see if you can see it. On the bottom of that, it says, quit getting offended by criticism. And below that, it says, criticism does not equate to hate speech, which is absolutely correct. And you might not be able to read this other writing here, but someone drew a circle around this and put an arrow to the bottom of it, and it says hate speech in parentheses. Hate speech or not, USJW snowflakes still have no right to censor it. And that's absolutely right. This is the type of stuff that tends to happen here on these growing secular university campuses, these more and more liberal indoctrinating campuses, to where, you've got people who are just not interested in hearing their opinions and calling everything that they disagree with hate speech. Now, I'll say a couple of things. Number one, I'm not claiming this is all SJWs or all liberals doing this. I understand that there are good classical liberals out there. I believe Christina Hoff Sommers is a classical liberal. I really like her stuff. You should go check her out. There's this guy on YouTube I'm subscribed to. His name is Sargon Avocad. There's a lot of things he say which he has issues with Christianity, and as a Christian, I clearly take issue with, but then again, there's a lot of other things he said that are on point. And he defines himself as a classical liberal who will share some of the views. I believe, if I remember correctly, he's not really against abortion or against gay marriage. Don't quote me on that or anything. I have to check that out to make sure, but if I remember correctly, he's not against those views, which typically tend to be liberal in nature, but he recognizes that there are a lot of things that are wrong with what these people are doing, trying to censor other opinions they don't agree with. And there's two things I want to say about this whole deal about hate speech. Number one, just because you call it hate speech doesn't in fact make it hate speech. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't make it hate speech. And number two, even if it is actually quote unquote hate speech, you still have no right to censor people from saying it. Now, you have the right to use your free speech to boycott them in other ways, to address them in other ways. Maybe, I don't know, if they're like a company who says certain views that, are really, really messed up, then you can boycott their company or do something like that. You use a free speech in that way, but you absolutely cannot use whatever means to keep people from saying it, whether you like it or not. I think groups like the KKK are the scum of the earth, but I will still defend to the death their right to hate against blacks or other minorities or other people that they love only in speech form. That's it. It doesn't go beyond the speech level. Their hatred stops at before it hits the tip of my nose. So basically, that's where the line is drawn. But just speech in general, they have the right to say those things, and those rights should be protected whether they like it or not. And again, I understand that this is not all liberals. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this is all SJWs, or if you define yourself as an SJW. I'm not saying this is all of you. So before people who define themselves as liberals / SJWs or whatever get their panties in a punch, I'm not saying this is all of you. I've already said two people just off the top of my head who I respect a lot, who I don't agree with everything they say, and they're classical liberals, but they recognize the importance of free speech. They recognize the importance of dissenting opinions. And you have stuff like this going on, like what you see here in this poster. You have stuff like this going on to where you have these butthurt liberal SJW folks just getting massively offended for, well, they can get massively offended. There's really not a thing about getting offended. Anybody can get offended by anything. You really don't have the right not to be offended. I'd be offended by a lot of stuff that atheists say about Christians here on YouTube and things like this, but you know what? I don't have the right not to be offended by what they say. If they believe those things, then they have the right to say them, whether it offends me or not. In the reverse, in the converse, it works the same way. Vice versa, if I say things they don't like or get offended by, I have the right to say them, and if they get offended, so what? Get over it. And the same thing goes to me. But again, like I was saying, you have these offended liberal SJW snowflakes, growing in these crazy numbers across the country, and the real hatred of speech they don't like. The projection is massive, and the hypocrisy is just off the charts. They're the ones who are the real intolerant ones. They are the ones who are the real hateful ones. And a lot of people are seeing it, including many of their own people who share their views, the folks who define themselves as the classical liberals. And I don't have to keep saying this, but again, I'm not saying that all liberals are responsible for this, and I'm not saying they all are put into this category. I'm just talking about the ones that do. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that this morning. So I hope you all have a great day. Take care. God bless, and like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.